What's going on, everybody? I'm Jay. Welcome to Square Pegs, and what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be ranking every announcement made during the Nintendo Direct. Now, one thing critically that I want to make sure that people understand here is I am not going to be ranking this based on how I perceive the thing that was announced. I don't really think that's fair. What I'm going to be ranking it as is how important of an announcement it is, how big of an announcement it is. Now, I will certainly put my own personal opinion on things in there because there are some games that are going to be huge announcements that I just don't care about. There's also a lot of stuff on here that I was absolutely enthralled with that I think is going to be massive. And hey, Nintendo did not phone it in for what is possibly one of the final directs for the Nintendo Switch's lifespan. So what do you say? Let's kick things off with the first game announced on the Nintendo Direct for June 2024, Mario & Luigi Brothership. So absolutely no surprise that Nintendo comes out of the gate hot with this Nintendo Direct. Now, I was not expecting a new Mario & Luigi game. Now, I've said on Twitter and on other videos repeatedly how much I would love to see more entries, or at least more remakes, in the Mario & Luigi series on the Switch, but I didn't really expect to get a brand new full-featured Mario & Luigi RPG as the Switch is going into its swan song. But hey, here we are, no complaints to be had whatsoever. Very excited to get this in here. I love the Mario & Luigi games. I think that the combination of the fantastic writing, the brilliant exploration, and the wonderful mechanics of having the timing-based combat is just a perfect blend of gameplay. They're fantastic games. And no surprise, Nintendo starts off with an S. Like, not even just to me is this a big deal. This is a big deal just for Nintendo in general. This is a huge game, absolutely spectacular game to kick things off with, and what a way to set the tone for the rest of the Direct. S rank all the way. I will say one thing that gets a massive F rank for me on this Nintendo Direct, we're going to get this out of the way really quickly right here after this Mario & Luigi reveal, is that there was no massive montage like there usually is on a Direct, where it's like, hey, look at these 400 games that are coming out this month. But no, we didn't get any of that. We just got our normal announcements, and that was a bit of a letdown because I really do enjoy those announcements where I just see these kind of random-ass games listed, but nothing like that in this one. So that gets an F. An F for no montage. I was a huge fan of Ultimate NES Remix on the Wii U and on the 3DS, so getting this kind of new take on that with the Nintendo World Championship NES Edition that drops next month is really exciting to me. I think these games are super fun, and I love when Nintendo kind of recognizes the fact that they can, pay attention to other aspects of gaming and not just focus on releasing these massive AAA titles. They can do stuff for speedrunners as well, and I think that's pretty cool. Overall, though, not a huge announcement. Like, this is something we already knew was coming. I mean, and it's cool to get video here, but I do think that at the end of the day, this probably doesn't appeal to as many people as it does to kind of something like a Mario & Luigi or games that are coming later on in this. So I'm going to give this one a B rank. I do think it's cool, but I don't think it's kind of this earth-shattering announcement like we're going to see later. I'll be honest with you, I don't know how big of an announcement Fairy Tail 2 is. This is a huge question mark for me. I'm familiar with the manga. I'm assuming there's an anime as well, based on the fact that there's voice actors for this game. But I am familiar with the manga because Victor has read it. But other than that, I don't know much about it. I didn't know if it was popular or not. So to see that there was a video game on it, and not only that, but a sequel to it, all right. So I guess this is a fairly interesting announcement. Not necessarily for me, but I guess for other people, if there's a sequel, it's probably sold enough to get that. I'm going to put this at a C because I don't know how big of an appeal this is going to have to a major audience, but it looks interesting at the very least, just not necessarily a game for me. Really on the fence about Fantasia Neo Dimension because I think there's an audience for this game. I really do, but I don't know how broad of an appeal it's going to have because this is an Apple Arcade port. It's something that's been available for a while. I remember seeing it on my iPad, but I was never really intrigued enough to pursue it. I don't know if that's going to be enough to really make this something folks are going to want to play. Now, it looks like there's some cool combat mechanics in here, and it's supposedly a fantastic game. I've just never really been drawn to it. The pedigree behind it is incredible with the creator of Final Fantasy and the composer of Final Fantasy working on it, but I don't know if that's enough to get people excited. Still, with that pedigree behind it and the fact that it's from Square Enix, and it does look to have some fairly interesting combat mechanics, I'm going to give this one a B. It's borderline B to a C, so correct me if I'm wrong. If you've played this one on Apple Arcade, let me know. What's this game about? Is it worth checking out? I'd love to hear about it. A new Nintendo Switch Sports update with basketball, which I don't care. I really don't care. I love Nintendo Switch Sports, and I love that we're getting new games for it, but this did nothing to move the needle for me. I'm going to give this one a D. It's neat that we're still getting free content updates, but I just don't care. I don't have the foggiest clue what Mio Memories in Orbit is about. I just know it's pretty, and I know I want to play it. What a gorgeous animation style. What a gorgeous concept. Looks like it puts in a little bit of like flint hook navigation with the grappling hook by moving around that way, along with some just general fun platforming. Now, I will say I can't tell if it's a precision platformer or not, and if it is, that's going to knock it down a little bit for me personally, but as far as an announcement goes, it's average. This is an average one. I don't know that a lot of people are going to get super stoked about this because it's not an IP they know about. Now, for me personally, as a huge fan of independent games, I think this is probably close to an A, but for the general public, yeah, I think this is probably a C. New update for Disney Illusion Island. Can't complain about that. I personally am excited about that. I do think it's a really intriguing game. I haven't picked it up yet. I haven't seen it at a price I'm comfortable pulling the trigger on, but I don't know. Overall, I think this game kind of came and went, so I don't know that necessarily letting people know there's a new expansion pack for it, I guess, is something that's really going to move the needle for folks, but it's an alright idea. I just think that this might be too little too late. And I think for most people, if they were interested, they've already got the game, and if they don't, this isn't going to make them intrigued to buy it. So, yeah, a D.
Then use the dashboard to crack each case. What big secret lies at the end? Start sleuthing because this free update launches on Nintendo.
Is Hello Kitty Island Adventure something that I want to play? No. Do I think it's a big deal? No, for the most part, but I do think there's a particular audience that is going to be very excited about a Hello Kitty Animal Crossing game. I don't know that this is necessarily something that I think is going to be huge, a massive seller and going to move numbers, but I think there is a definite audience for it. I'm going to give Hello Kitty Island Adventure a C, just because I do think there's an audience for the game, it's just not necessarily for me. On one hand, I'm really happy to see a Looney Tunes game. On the other hand, I don't care about Looney Tunes Wacky World of Sports in the slightest. It's just another sports compilation, and we've already got a better one advertised earlier in this video with Nintendo Switch Sports. Now granted, this one you get basketball, tennis, golf, and soccer, which is cool, but all of those things are already in other games and are probably going to play better. Now, if you're a huge Looney Tunes fan and you're looking forward to something like that, being able to play as Bugs or Lola or Taz, this is the game for you. For me, could not care less. And I don't think most people are going to care about it either. This, to me, feels like the kind of game you're going to see sit on shelves at Walmart and Target for years. I'm giving this one an F. Do people still play Among Us? I thought that this was a meme game that had already kind of come and gone, but I guess people are still playing it, and maybe people are still excited about it. I was really kind of interested in the fact that the developers had seemed to kind of move on to helping other developers get their games out and becoming publishers, but I guess there's still going to be updates coming for Among Us, and I guess there's still an audience there, so I guess this is a C? I don't know. You tell me, is Among Us still popular? I have no idea. Boy, howdy, Farmagia has a lot happening on it, doesn't it? So it's a little bit Pokemon, it's a little bit Stardew Valley, which makes it a lot of Rune Factory, which, I mean, I already have Rune Factory. Why do I need discount Rune Factory? I don't know, this one didn't appeal to me in the slightest, and I have never heard anyone mention a thing about it since this Direct went, so yeah, not moving the needle for me at all, and I don't think it's moving the needle for a lot of folks. I don't know, it looks like Dollar Tree Rune Factory. I don't know, just not my thing. I'm giving this one a D. At least it's a new IP, so points for that, but yeah, just don't care. Personally, I love Donkey Kong Country Returns, and any opportunity to get a new side-scrolling Donkey Kong game makes me happy. I think this is phenomenal. I think it looks great. This is a natural update, a perfect game to bring forward and to port onto the Switch, and I think this thing is going to be massive. We are hungry for more Donkey Kong Country. Absolute S, 100%. Obstacles in the way? One of my favorite bits of technology that resulted from this generation is the HD 2D effect that Square Enix has used to great effect on bringing forward classic games or creating new ones like Octopath Traveler. We are getting a port and an update of Dragon Quest III in HD 2D, and I am ecstatic about this because this is something that we have clamored for and we have known was coming. Like, this is not And I'm gushing over this, so it's gonna sound like I'm gonna give this an S, but because we have known about this one for a while, and because we've had leaks, I'm gonna knock it down just a smidge to an A. This is a huge announcement, don't get me wrong, but the wind kind of got taken out of its sails a little bit by it being leaked, but still, I am ridiculously excited for this. This is a day one purchase for me. Not to be outdone, though, we're getting a Dragon Quest 1 and 2 HD 2D remake, and yeah, just as excited about this one. This one also gets... Now, no, let me temper that a little bit. I'm not going to give this one an A, just because Dragon Quests 1 and 2 are not as great as 3 is, so I'm going to give this one a B, but still, ecstatic to be getting this, and this is the kind of port I love to see. I love to see natural upgrades and bringing forward classic games, just making them more modern compatible for folks. This is cool.
Say hello to
Funko Fusion.
Jaws?
F.
Wait,
Triple F. Funko Fusion F.
is that Marty
I couldn't
McFly?
care less. I'm a Funko collector, or I was at one point. I do not care. This is an F. All right, we're about halfway through now. Let's take a look at where the rankings currently stand.
4 locations based on over 20 iconic movies, TV shows, and more.
Again, this is one we already knew about, so this is going to be knocked down a little bit, but really cool to see Luigi's Mansion 2 HD Remix here on the Switch. I know this is one folks have wanted for a while, so very excited to see it. I'm going to give this one an A. If we hadn't known about it in advance, this would absolutely be an S, but since we did know about it for a while, going to knock it down a little bit to an A. Still really cool to see it in action, though. I have no idea what's happening with the new Denpa Men. Boy. I get very strong vibes of the weird role-playing game from Street Pass on the 3DS with this game, but oh boy, yeah, nope, don't care. Don't care, and I don't think many people do. This is getting an F. Metal Slug Attack Reloaded. I love that we are in a world right now where we are getting all kinds of Metal Slug love, because it's one of my favorite franchises. Oh god, I love SNK to begin with, so them dipping into those classic IPs and bringing forward them to the new generation makes me ecstatic, but oh boy, is this not a huge announcement. I'm excited about it. I'm super stoked for it, but oh boy, this is not something that a lot of people are going to be jazzed for. It's a tower defense game. I don't know. I don't think this is going to be something that a lot of folks are really stoked about. And I hope I'm wrong. I hope this is a million seller and we continue to see amazing new Metal Slug games. But overall, I do think it just kind of comes in as an average. It's going to be a C. For me, it's an A. But I think overall, it's a C. I'm a big fan of the original Darkest Dungeon, so to get the sequel here on the Switch is really cool. I'm personally excited for it. I know Victor's excited for it as well. He really likes the originals too, but I don't know that a lot of folks are going to be really stoked for it, because I think this is a game that a lot of people missed, and they might be curious what it is and might check out the original, but I'm not sure this is a major announcement. I'm going to put this one at a high C, low B. It's a C. I mean, if I'm being honest, it's something that is something people are going to look at and go, that's cool, but I don't think it's going to be anything that's really going to get folks super excited to play it. And I don't think the footage did enough to really show off what the game is capable of. So yeah, just going to come in middle of the road at a C. The Nintendo Switch Online update for both the N64 mature games and the GBA is massive. I am a huge fan of the Switch Online service. I love the classic games that they offer, and anytime we're able to get new games makes me really happy. We've had the mature rated games app over in Japan for a while now. We just never got it here in the West. So for it to finally come over is a big deal. And we're getting Turok and Perfect Dark, which is really awesome. Now I hear there's some emulation issues with Perfect Dark, which is kind of a bummer. But overall, though, it's still a really huge announcement. And then over on the Game Boy Advance, we're getting Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past and Four Swords, as well as Metroid Zero Mission. So we're filling in some gaps there for games that we needed. I want to give this an S, but I do think it probably comes out to an A. Not everyone subscribes to the expansion pack. Not everyone gets the online games, so it's a good way to get people intrigued, but I do want to say it's an A. It's an announcement for a lot of folks, but not for everybody. Now, I'm a big fan of the Phantom Brave series, so when I saw that we were getting an announcement for Phantom Brave: The Lost Hero here, I was excited. And I do think it looks pretty good. But oh my god, the voice acting. The voice acting in this game will drive me up a tree. I will be turning that slider all the way down, because this... Ooh, wow, just like the most annoying kind of like anime schoolgirl voices for the main character of Morona here. I do love Phantom Brave though, so I'm intrigued by it. I don't know that this is something a lot of folks are going to be interested in, though. This is kind of a niche series, that really didn't do itself any favors by featuring the voices that they have in this game. They're kind of grating, and I don't think it's going to make people want to play. I'm going to give Phantom Brave the Lost Hero a D because just kind of a bungled announcement. Didn't really work. Marvel vs. Capcom Fighting Collection Arcade Classics. Now, I wanted the Capcom Fighting Collection Volume 2, but you know what? I'll take this. This works. This works. I am so ridiculously excited about this game. This features so many games that I love. You get X-Men Children of the Atom. You get Marvel Superheroes, X-Men vs. Street Fighter, Marvel vs. Street Fighter, Marvel vs. Capcom, Marvel vs. Capcom 2. And just because Capcom's feeling nice, we also get the side-scrolling arcade game of The Punisher. Now, these are all arcade ports, from what I'm understanding, based on the video we saw. And yeah, 100%, 1,000% down for this. I could not have a more perfect collection built for me than the Marvel vs. Capcom Fighting Collection Arcade Classics. This is an S. This is the highest ranked S I think I can give on this video to this point. Just ecstatic for this game. Massive, massive, massive announcement. Oh, this ranking is going to be personally divisive because I'm not a big fan of the Mario Party games because I suck at them. Frankly stated, I'm terrible at them. My wife and son kick my ass in them all the time. So, Mario Party Jamboree, yeah, it's a big announcement. It's not an announcement I'm personally excited for, but let's go over the positives here. First off, bunch of new game boards, always cool. Bunch of new mini games, very cool. Bringing back some classic boards from Mario Party 1 and 2, super awesome. Love the massive online gameplay that's part of this as well, so they're doing some good stuff here. For me personally, what kind of an announcement is this? It's probably a C, a low C, high D. What kind of an announcement is it for the general public? This is an A. It's a huge announcement. People love the Mario Party games. I think this is great. Getting 3 Mario Party games on the Switch, we haven't seen that since, like, the GameCube, so big deal here. Not personally excited, but I know a lot of folks who are. I'm sure that Meredith and Victor cannot wait to kick my ass in Mario Party Jamboree. The Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom. We've wanted a Zelda game starring actual Princess Zelda for years, and here it is, in the stunning, gorgeous Link's Awakening style presentation. I'm so glad that they went back to this engine. I'm so glad they're utilizing it again. And I'm really excited that it isn't just Zelda as Link. There's actually a different kind of gameplay involved here. Echoes of Wisdom is an S. This is the biggest announcement of the show. It's absolutely massive. It's absolutely massive. I'm really, really excited for this one, and just so cool to see a game finally starring Zelda 40 years after the original release. The Switch Lite Hyrule Edition? Pretty big announcement. Not earth-shattering. It's going to be a C, but I'm buying one. When the sun has extinguished, and we have been transported to our colonies on different planets in different dimensions, when we have perfected time travel, when our lives and our human shells have crumbled to dust, and we are just beings on the information superhighway and no longer physical constructs, there will still be Just Dance games being made. Just Dance 2025. F. I personally think that this is probably going to be one of the more contentious rankings on this video, because I can see this going 2 completely different directions for folks. For me personally, LEGO Horizon Adventures is a big deal. I'm already a big fan of the LEGO games, and I like the Horizon Zero games, so getting this released on the Switch, which is impressive and amazing and wonderful, makes me really happy. But I can see why people would be disappointed in this, or people would be upset that we're getting this released when this is a Sony franchise and it should stay on Sony. But it's not really, because this is the LEGO version. This isn't the same thing. Horizon is still safe on PlayStation. This is just expanding people's viewpoint to see it in more places, and that's not a bad thing. Again, I do think this is going to be a bit of a contentious ranking. For me, I do think Horizon Adventures is going to be an A. I can see people ranking it lower, but I do think this is a big deal, and I do think this is very important overall for the industry. I really enjoyed Stray. I played it on the PS5. I thought it was a very competent game, and I thought it was really clever. Being able to play as a cat in a post-apocalyptic world where robots run everything was kind of neat. I don't know how good this is going to perform on the Switch. I think there's going to be some downgrades graphically that are going to negatively impact it, but I do think it's neat to see a game from the PS5 brought onto the Switch. I don't think this is a massive announcement, but I do think it's pretty cool. I'm going to give Stray a B because it is kind of unique to see something from the PS5 brought to the Switch and not have it really suffer too much, just a little bit graphically. It's pretty cool. I probably am predisposed to liking Tales of the Shire, as Gary is fond of pointing out. I am a hobbit, and I do love the Lord of the Rings universe. I am a big fan of the books. I love the movies. And this is intriguing. I think it's a really neat idea to make a Animal Crossing-esque game set in the Shire using the hobbits and not having it focus on combat like most Lord of the Rings games do. It's a really clever approach. I'm pretty stoked for this one. I think this could be a big hit. I think this could be really fun. And I think it's going to be a quality game. I'm going to give Tales of the Shire, a Lord of the Rings game, a B. I want to rank it higher, but I could see it going lower. So I think B above average is a good spot for this game. Always cool to see Capcom bringing some of the Ace Attorney games stateside for the first time, and Ace Attorney Investigations Collection is doing that. We're getting one of the sequels for the Ace Attorney games that never released here in the States, in English, translated, and ready to play. We have the option of having the hand-drawn art style or the original kind of pixelated art style, and I think that's pretty neat. I don't know that this is a massive enough announcement for people to really get excited about the Ace Attorney games that weren't already excited about them, but for me, I'm pretty stoked about this one. I do think overall this is probably a B. It's got a familiar enough name that people will be excited to see it, but I don't necessarily think this announcement is going to really shake things up too much, other than for folks that are already excited about the franchise. The 100 line Last Defense Academy is not a game that's made for me. This is from the Danganronpa team, and I'm sure those games are great. I've never played them, but this trailer didn't do anything for me to make me want to play it, other than it looks like a tactical strategy game, so I'm at least a little bit curious, but not enough to really get excited for it. I do know, like I said, though, that the Danganronpa games are very popular, and I think folks are probably going to see that that team is behind this game and be excited for it. I'm confused as to why everyone is cross-eyed in the game. The art style doesn't really do anything for me, but I think enough people will be interested that they'll want to play it. I'm going to give this one a C. Not for me, but I think there's enough interest out there that folks will be at least intrigued by the trailer. Always happy to see new releases, or at least new remakes, for the Romancing Saga series, and Romancing Saga 2 Revenge of the Seven is a full remake of Romancing Saga 2, and that's exciting. For me, this is not a big deal for anyone else. I'm admittedly a huge fan of the Romancing Saga series, so I'm excited to get this one, and I'm sure there's an audience here, but they're relying very heavily on the Square Enix name here to do some heavy lifting, and it probably will. I think overall this is probably a C rank announcement, not necessarily anything above average or anything like that, and not below average either. It's still got some good pedigree behind it. It's just not a huge deal for anyone other than folks that are already fans of the Saga series. Alright, so let's talk about the biggest announcement on this event, Metroid Prime 4. Now for me, not a huge announcement, because I'm not a fan of the Prime games. I don't dig them. I just don't get into them. I don't know why. They just don't connect for me, and that's okay. I know that folks are so excited for this game, and I love to see how just ridiculously palpable this excitement is, because it's going to be massive for Nintendo and massive for Metroid as a franchise. I'm interested. I'm intrigued, and there's some things in here I'm kind of curious about, because to me this feels like a game that was kind of like Breath of the Wild, that released at the ass end of the Wii U's lifespan, as well as the start of the Switch. And that's kind of what Metroid Prime 4 feels like to me. This feels like it's going to be released on a Switch cartridge, but it's also going to be released on the sequel to the Switch, if you know what I mean, at the same time. So they're kind of double dip. And that Switch sequel is going to have some graphic improvements that are going to just put this game through the roof. Now, will I play it? I will absolutely play it. It's got me interested enough that I want to try it out. There's some very cool things shown in this trailer that are, at the very least, intriguing. I'm going to give this an S. I don't think there's any question that this is an S. I do think this is probably the biggest announcement. I know I said that for the Zelda game, but I do think this is probably bigger overall, just because folks have been waiting for this for what feels like a decade now. But yeah, Metroid Prime 4, this is an S. This is a massive, massive announcement. there you have it, my friends. My rankings for every game announced during today's Nintendo Direct. Now, yes, that may be something that you agree with, something you disagree with. And again, I want to reiterate the point I made at the start of the video. This is only ranking based on how important I think the announcement was, not necessarily how excited I am for the game. Although, again, my opinions on that are stated during the video. Let me know in the comments down below whether you agree with me or not. Let me know whether or not you think this is a terrible idea or if I need to revisit this down the road. Until next time, folks, I've been Jay. Appreciate you spending a little bit of time with me today. Remember to play more games, stay square, and take care. I'll talk to you soon.